A warm welcome to our community show, and we are chatting tech today. David Lloyd is our guest from SpeedTech Computer Services. Hi, David.
Hello, hi.
Now, it's great to get you in because we're all stuck at home, isolating in these times, and it's a potential danger, isn't it, I suppose, for kids hopping on the Wi-Fi, people working from home, using laptops that may be not entirely secure. So perhaps we can cover a few security tips and then maybe a few tips on tools to use for collaboration, chatting to your friends and your work colleagues, and then maybe a bit on security if we get time. What do you reckon?
Yes, why not? Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
So first of all, kids from Monday, we're recording this on the Friday, kids from Monday will be at home, hopping on a laptop potentially that has been, used for all kinds of purposes, or mum or dad is logging in to work using the same laptop that may have all kinds of things on it. What are the things we can do? What are the apps we can use to help us stay secure?
Right, yeah, well...
big question.
Yes, exactly. It's a very, very good question. Well, most internet service that you have coming into the house will have its own built-in firewall that you can use that would give you a guest network and a mainstream network as well that you could segregate and share for the children and for the parents, really, without any restrictions. So in most cases, you could use parental controls built in to that internet service that you have coming in, whether it's any of the major services that are out there. Could I mention any? Could I?
Oh yeah, by all means, yes.
BT, let's say BT, for instance, which is a popular one. Virgin Media as well. You've got parental controls built in. You can segregate the network with the hub that you have or the router that you have as well. To a certain extent, they're not. Some of them might not be that sophisticated to configure. You can buy additional kit. That you can attach a Wi-Fi access point that gives you very, very good segregation of Wi-Fi as well. So you can segregate the Wi-Fi for your children, put some extra controls on that. You can reduce the bandwidth as well for them, restrict the time scale that they're going to be on that particular service that you've segregated, and you can have yours without any restrictions with bandwidth. So there's a lot of flexibility out there. But in most cases, you can most probably do it with what you have in home already. But there are additional services out there you can bring in.
I like the idea of reducing the time that they're on the computer. That sounds good.
Well, yes, it's brilliant, isn't it? The parents have got real control. Yeah. Yes. So
by creating this guest Wi-Fi, which you would just log into your router setup.
Yeah, it'll come out as a security identifier as a Wi-Fi name. Yeah. So you can call it whatever you want. You can call it kids lockdown or something like that, and then really sort of go to town on it and reduce the bandwidth and put some extra firewall blocks on there. Yeah. So the children aren't harmed in any way. They've got full access to what they need from a school point of view, from a curriculum point of view, and they're not getting any other services coming in to interfere. So you've got a lot of control there.
The temptation to sit there and watch Netflix is probably quite strong.
Oh, you can cut that out
off school.
Yeah, you can stop that from happening easily. Yeah. So there's a lot of these days there is a lot of flexibility out there. And the only problem is, it's the infrastructure now is going to be quite inundated with a lot of home users.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Working from home, and it has shown some strains recently. But the companies have got that flexibility to increase that, and I think they're working well to make sure that any home worker, any child that's at home will have their full use. I don't know how. It really depends on you know, on what they're going to throw at it. But I think in most cases that you know, most of us are going to be okay.
So obviously, with us working from home, there's that sense of isolation with your team at work or your friends as well. So what's some common collaboration tools that we can use? I suppose it depends in a way what package you're using. Maybe you're using a Microsoft or a Mac or your 365. You might have an inbuilt app already. But what's some common ones? We can talk to Granny, we can talk to work, and maybe have a video call with your work colleagues. Well,
one of the common ones would be, what comes to mind is Skype. Everyone knows Skype.
Yeah.
Very, very easy to use. Very low package to use. Works on the internet. Very cost effective as well. It's a Microsoft product now. Works really well. So that's one that we can use. Also,
and it has some interesting features where you can share screens, doesn't it? As well, that's quite an interesting one.
Very good for home working as well. So you can share, you can document share as well. You know, there's so many. But that would be the main one I'd say would come to mind, that most people would know about. There's several others, but I think it's Skype that everyone's quite familiar. And also, you know, with smartphones as well, you know, you've got FaceTime, things like that as well that you could use from the Apple point of view. If you've got an iPad and that sort of thing, and Samsung as well. All smartphones and devices have got built-in cameras. So, you know, these days, you know, especially in these uncertain times, where there's going to be a certain amount of isolation, that you know, people want to see somebody, want to see a face, a friendly face, a family member that's remotely. Everyone's anxious. We've got the ability, to hand that we can still communicate and see somebody visually as well. I mean, that's real reassurance, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, it's good to see people.
Absolutely. So, I mean, Skype would be one of the main ones.
Yeah, you also hear people using Zoom and Microsoft Teams, don't you? Which is obviously very similar to Skype. So I know we're being told not to go to coffee bars, restaurants, pubs and things, but maybe if you have to go and sit in Starbucks and use their Wi-Fi to direct into work, is that safe, or should we be making sure we've got something on our laptops security-wise? What do you suggest there?
That's a good question. I mean, from a security point of view, CAF's internet service wouldn't have changed. It'll be the same. It's really up to you whether you want to use that service or not. If you are going to use it on a regular basis to work, then, you know, depending on what company you work for or what service you have, you could use a virtual private network, a VPN, that will give you good fiber security as well. If you haven't got that, then if you're not happy about using an open internet service, you could tether your system to your smartphone, and use it that way. But you know, it really boils down to having good security. You can't beat good, you know, internet security, you know, that you have on your system. So if you're using a Windows laptop or something like that, if you have the right internet security software, that will give you protection when it comes to, you know, firewall protection and that sort of thing as well. Can you suggest something, or what would you recommend in terms of security? Norton software is very, very good. There's quite a few, but I would say, in my experience, Norton is very, very low footprint. It's very, very good, very easy to use. There's so many different fires. It comes built in with a lot of cyber security services there. There's a VPN service as well with Norton, so you could use that. You're paying for the subscription, a yearly subscription. That comes built in. It's very, very good. Yeah, very, very good protection as well. And just being, you know, a little bit of common sense, I suppose, comes into play as well. You know, just being aware of where you're going, what's around, who's around you. If it's a regular cafe that you've been to before and you haven't had any problems, then, you know, that's going to be okay. But it's just being vigilant in who's around you, basically, as well. But make sure you've got the right software, and it's very, very easy to get the software nowadays. I suppose making sure it's up to date as well. Yeah,
one
I
thing
can't
having it on
stress
there.
that enough. That do not let your security software on your system lapse. A lot of us have it for 12 months and then it lapses and then you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Try and keep it up to date. It's relatively inexpensive nowadays to have it, so it's really worthwhile having that.
And while we're chatting about security software, perhaps if we're working from home, it might have more time to maybe do the odd backup. Obviously,
Yes,
we should be backing up regularly anyway, or using automatic backups. But
absolutely,
what's your recommendation for something that helps with backups?
Recommendations would be, I mean, you'll need some form of backup. So what is very, very popular nowadays is backing up to the cloud.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have got some reservations about the security part of it. My personal data on the cloud. I mean, that's really up to the individual. But in most cases, cloud backup is very, very safe as well. One in particular that I've used quite a lot in the last few years is a backup service called Cronus. It's very, very good. It's very, very easy to set up. Very intuitive. Once you set it up and put your settings in there and on your time, on your backup schedule, it's a matter of just leaving it and letting it sort of update itself as well. So there's various versions of that. I mean, there's a local version of that as well, which is a one-off fee that you pay for. It's a lifetime. Once you've paid for the license, it's a lifetime warranty you have on it. There's also a cloud version of that as well. Could I mention the price of that? Is that something?
Yes, by all means.
It's about £35, I think, for 12 months, and that gives you quite a lot of online backup storage. So 250 gigabytes. This is quite a lot. That would cover a lot of photographs and a lot of documents that home users would have.
Yeah.
If you over exceed that, then obviously you'll be paying a little bit more. But that's a one-off fee for the year for 12 months, and then you'll revisit that and pay that after those 12 months. So if that's something you didn't want to do and you weren't sure of doing that because you've still got that that feeling of insecurity of your personal documents, then a local backup, have some form of local backup as well.
Yeah.
A backup storage system like a USB solid state drive, very inexpensive now, that you can plug into a USB port in your laptop or your Mac or your Windows desktop, and then use a Cronus to back that up locally. If you've got an Apple system, we mustn't forget Apple clients as well. Apple clients would use the trusted service of Time Machine.
Yeah.
As well, works very, very well. That works locally. It can be set up to work online as well.
Okay.
Providing you've got the space. But what works well in tandem with Apple systems is a software package called SuperDuper, which is its primary use is for imaging the whole system. So it gives you a whole image backup in its entirety of the system that you have in your Apple. So if you made a drastic mistake today, and you know that your SuperDuper software package is backed up yesterday and it's backed up complete, you can put that back on, and you're up and running again. And you've lost probably just, if anything, you've only lost 6 or 7 hours work. If you've done anything major, you've only lost that. But then again, with Time Machine, you can get all those documents back as well. So they do work very, very well together.
Yeah.
And they will not interfere with each other. So SuperDuper is very, 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 very inexpensive to use. You can download it from ShirtPocket. Can I mention ShirtPocket?
Yeah. ShirtPocket.com.
ShirtPocket.com, and you download it and you can use it straight away. If you wanted to use it in a more more in-depth backup with it, so you have more flexibility with it, then you just pay the license. The license is about £26.
Yeah,
and that's a lifetime license as well, and you'll get all the all the upgrades with that as well. So it's very, very good. These are all very, very low footprint.
Yeah.
packages.
I suppose the cloud backup ones happen automatically. The thing with manual backups is we never get around to doing it, do we? So a cloud one is automatic.
But in most cases, manual backups can be, you can time schedule that to back up automatically, but the systems will have to be left on.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people forget. They tend to turn their systems off. One day or whatever, or the night when it's bedtime, and they've forgotten that they've actually scheduled the backup for a particular day in the week, and it's that particular day in the week that you've switched your system off.
Yeah.
So of course it can't back up. But as long as you remember that, and you're backing up to a local drive, just remember that your system will have to be on at that time. Most backups aren't going to take that long, but it depends on how much data you have. If you've got a lot of photographs, a lot of music, a lot of data, depending on the volume, then the backups will take a little bit longer.
I suppose it's videos, isn't it, these days as well, with your phones and whatever.
Yeah. And then you could schedule it on a day that's not that it's not going to be that, you're not going to be that busy using the system.
No,
just leave it on to backup.
Something we forget. I was struck by this earlier this year when my internet provider suddenly whacked up the bill, and suddenly I was paying £70 a month. So maybe it could be a nice time. We're off work, maybe time on our hands. Just check your internet bill, because there's some good deals out there. I think if you sign up for a period, I managed to get mine down from 70 down to I think it's 28.
Fantastic.
By a bit of haggling.
Fantastic.
But it's one of those things that you just don't realise until you check your statement, and suddenly you think, "Oh crikey, how did I end up paying £70 a month?"
That's very good. And why is that, isn't it? I mean, why do you have to call them?
Yeah.
And get some kind of deal from them when customer service should prevail here. They should be contacting you and saying that you've been a loyal customer for 4 or 5 years, and we all want to be loyal customers at the end of the day, and whatever service we have, but it seems to be lost. We're always chasing this deal now, and we've got to be proactive in looking for the next best deal. I remember talking to older family members saying that many years ago you didn't have to shop around for car insurance, but now you do. You were always swapping and changing our car insurance because we all want value for money. Value for money is, to me, that these big providers should be contacting their customers and saying to them, we can save you money. Yeah. You don't have to pay £70. We can reduce it to £28. We want to keep you as a customer. And this is our thank you for being a loyal customer for 5 years. This is what we can do. Yeah. In most cases, if that doesn't happen, then you've got to have that. You've got to have that energy and effort while you've got time, because not a lot of us haven't got time nowadays. We're so busy in our lives. Tech is really sort of engrossed in our lives now. A lot of us haven't got time to shop around, but I think while we have got time now, which has been thrust upon us, unfortunately, this is the situation we're in. We should be looking at our best possible deal, and there's some good deals to be had. It's just picking up the phone, talking to them, and saying to them, whoever it is, do I really need this service? Why am I paying £70 for this? I know a personal friend or a family member who's got the same service as me, and they're only paying £30. Why am I paying, £70? And in a lot of cases, you can reduce it, and it can be reduced immediately.
So give us a flavour of the kind of work that you do. You're a local Uxbridge area computer expert, SpeedTech Computer Solutions. Your forte perhaps is what people who are less technical. You like helping mature people with their computer problems.
Yes, I mean, the more mature person that isn't that technically versed, savvy first. They like our services pretty much revolve around it's a roaming service. So we come to you, we service what you want. We give you the best possible service. It's all about customer service, looking after the customer, giving them value for money, seeing a friendly face, being compassionate, being kind, being helpful, giving you the value that you want, that you're, not necessarily going to have to, disconnect your system. Who really wants to do that? Having to, disconnect all the wires and bring it to someone else, and then and you don't know what they're doing, behind the scenes or whatever, and then you having them bring it back, and then you having to reconnect everything and find out that something's not quite working.
Yeah.
So our services are rebuilds, software installation, router installation, infrastructure, cabling. We do all that. I've been in the business for over 20 years, so I've been I've involved in most facets of IT, in all areas. I'm well versed in it. But what we do pride ourselves in is this customer services and the value that we know that customers want, and they get to see a friendly face on a regular basis as well. And it's just going out there and just looking after the customer. It's reviving that that service that tends to get a little bit lost, I think.
Yeah. We'll put your contact details at the end of this video so we can contact you. But our little tech talk, I think, is winding up now. Just a couple of top tips there was, don't forget backups as you're at home next week. Maybe have a look at your backup situation. You'll probably realise, I've not actually been backing up anything for the past how many years when I thought I had.
Yeah. Sorry, could I just interrupt there, Steve? With backups, this is another thing.
Yeah.
Is when you do, if you have been backing up on a regular basis, is to test your backups as well. You must do a dummy restore, a test, because if you don't do that on a regular basis, and you're thinking your system has been backing up, happily for the last 2 or 3 years, and when crunch time comes, and God forbid you have a failure, and you go to restore and there's nothing there, then there's not a lot that you can do. So it's when you do choose a good backup strategy, is to restore it or do a restore at least once a month just to test that backup. I mean, this is something you learn when you're in the industry, and if you are responsible for backing up, corporate companies' backup or a company's systems and all this sort of thing, something that you would do, you'd regiment that in. And I can't stress it enough. You must test the service that you're using and do it. But yes, that is a very valuable, especially these days, a very, very valuable service that you must have, at home.
And the other piece of advice is if you are connecting into work through your home router, do set up a guest network so that you segregate yourself off from the kids or the Xbox in the other room. That's been great, David. Hopefully you'll pop back maybe another time. If anybody's got any questions, probably loads of questions in the tech world, any simple questions, any tricky questions, then do email in or leave some comments at the bottom of the video. But David, thank you very much for popping in.
It's been lovely coming here to Uxbridge FM. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.